So have you been keeping up with all the drama in the YSL Young Thug RICO trial?
No.
So the entire case is crazy, and it looks like Young Thug may be getting out of jail sooner than later because of the judge now being in trouble. So this case has been one of the most wild cases that I've ever seen, ever. And it has been exposing how unprepared and how bad the state attorneys are in Georgia, because they have done a terrible job prosecuting this case. They have, I think their original witness list was like 200, 300 plus people. The trial is supposed to take at least a couple of years, and they're really just getting to the meat of this. But what's happening right now is the main guy that the entire RICO case is built around is YSL Woody, which is one of Young Thug's closest, oldest friends, like a brother to him, and one of the founders of YSL. Now, this is one of the guys that took a deal early on and got out of jail, right, when Young Thug got arrested. Now, what's been going on is he's been going on the stand and saying that everything he said was a lie, and basically destroying the state's case. For people that don't understand, that the YSL, that the state has to prove that Young Thug was running a criminal organization, and that the people in this criminal organization were doing crimes in furtherance of the gang. The problem is that if we're being honest, that didn't happen. I'm giving you guys the whole thing. I got a bunch of videos on the play. I'm gonna walk you back through it, but I want everybody to understand what's happening in this case because it's important. And I feel like as people from the culture, black people, whatever, we understand this probably more than the average person does. So Young Thug gets rich. All of his people are gang members and hood niggas. They all already do crime. They do small crimes. They're pulling up, this guy got arrested with a few grams of weed a few years ago. This guy at somebody 10 years ago. This guy threw up gang signs at some police officers 5 years ago. This is their case. What they're trying to prove, like in a mafia boss case with a RICO, is that everybody was doing these crimes to make money for the gang, right? The problem is that all these guys were poor, and it wasn't the gang that was funding YSL, the record label, or Young Thug in any way, because they never were moving large amounts of drugs or had any type of criminal ring. It was Young Thug making a whole lot of money and taking care of a bunch of gang members and thugs who were then going out and also at the same time doing crimes. What the prosecution is trying to prove is that Young Thug was somehow profiting from the fact that these guys were fighting people or selling a couple of dimes of bags of weed. Or like their whole case is so BS. It didn't happen. When they go back to these crimes, none of these guys were making money. All of these guys were just a part of his entourage. All of these guys were just in the vicinity of him. And while they may have all been criminals and at the same time committing crime, that does not mean that Young Thug was the crime boss and that this RICO case fits. And so YSL really was basically a snitch to the police for the whole time. Now, sometimes he would tell them the truth. Sometimes he would tell them a lie. He would basically tell them whatever he would have to tell them to get himself out of jail. But see, this is the thing. He went in court and told and went on the stand and pleaded the fifth after they gave him immunity, which caused a problem. Ooh. So you got to understand, the entire case has been a hot mess from day one. This is the state's biggest witness, the state's most important witness. This is the guy that proves that Young Thug should be in jail. And this guy is now going on the stand and saying that I lied to the police officers. Ooh. I didn't believe him. And so even if he's lying now, he's just proved to everybody that he's unreliable. So even if he's lying now, it don't matter, because either way, he's a liar now. And how can he be you? How can we trust anything he says?
He can't be the star witness.
Exactly. So this all happened. And so the judge also has been very lenient with the state, even though their case is trash, even though they've done a lot of like shady things to the defense. It seems like on the side of the prosecutors when he's supposed to be impartial, objective. And so now it seems like the judge has been exposed for not being impartial and for trying to pressure Woody, the star witness, into testifying. And he did it in a closed meeting, which is illegal. So this is what happened. So this is what the main problem is, and this is why the entire trial has now been stopped. Young Thug's YSL Woody gets pulled into what they call an ex parte meeting with the prosecutor and the judge and his temporary lawyer, because his real lawyer went out on vacation. So this lawyer just stepped in, don't know nothing. So she's just like, oh, okay. She just walks into the meeting. Her, the judge, prosecutor. This is not supposed to happen. The defendant has a legal right to have his representation be in that meeting, unless otherwise stated by the judge. The judge didn't say nothing. They had this private secret meeting. Woody's lawyer at the time is like, they just took Woody, allegedly, into this back room, and the judge is standing on him like, boy, you better testify, and basically saying that I'm gonna hold you in jail to the end of this trial if you don't testify. And the prosecutor's in there telling him, Woody's in there asking, what if I lie? What if I didn't committed this crime? What if I tell them I killed him? And they're saying, well, we're not gonna prosecute you for this. We're not gonna prosecute you for that. So the whole thing is they're doing this kind of shady backroom deal, and the lawyer is like, what the fuck? So the lawyer is trying to get them to give her more time because she just got on the case. They don't want to do that. The lawyer comes out of the back, eventually lets Brian Steele, Young Thug's lawyer, know what just happened, and Young Thug's lawyer is going to charge up the judge for doing it and request a mistrial because that's illegal. The judge is going to deny it. But the thing is because the judge is now a witness in the claim of whether or not this is a mistrial, the judge cannot give a ruling on it and has to send it to another judge. Oh. Because if I'm saying you did something wrong and you get to rule over whether you did something wrong or not, that's not justice.
It's not.
So check this out. So the judge gets mad and threatens to arrest Brian Steele because he won't give up who told him about the meeting, which again is what? This sounds real illegal. So he threatens him to throw him in jail. Brian Steele's like, all right, throw me in jail as long as I get to go be with Young Thug. Gangster shit. If I'm ever locked up, call him, please. So the judge ends up threatening him, trying to get him to snitch. Brian Steele won't snitch, and this is what happens.
Copeland, tell me how you got the information.
Listen, whatever you want to do.
Tell me how you got the information, then we can go ahead and go forward.
I'm not going to say that. What I'm going to say is this. I was told, and I hope this concerns the court.
It concerns me that you have proprietary information.
Why is it
or
proprietary?
Information that you should not be having that was ex parte.
Why?
With a party.
Why?
State of Georgia.
How about the witness? How about Mr. Copeland, who supposedly announced he's not testifying and he'll sit for 2 years, and then supposedly this honorable court, or excuse me, let me rephrase that. This court supposedly said, I can hold you until the end of this trial. Ms. Hilton supposedly said, actually, all of the defendants and then all 26 people are disposed of. If that's true, what this is coercion, witness intimidation, ex parte communications that we have
by the judge.
Constitutional right to be present for. So I understand that you're upset towards me, but I don't know what I did.
Mr. Steele, I still want to know, how did you come upon this information? Who told you?
What I want to know is, why wasn't I there? Why,
sir? I'm going to hold you in contempt if you don't tell me who tell me who this information was coming from.
I don't want to be held in contempt. Well, I'm not answering that question. That's attorney-client privilege information. I am not
attorney-client privilege. Unless you were in my chambers, that's the only way you can figure out.
I tell
you what, I'm going to give you 5 minutes. If you don't tell me if you don't tell me who it is, I'm going to put you. I'm going to put you in contempt because that is not attorney-client privilege.
Attorney work product privilege. I am not.
How did you get that information supposedly from my chambers? Did somebody tell?
So this is the problem with the judge. He thought he's letting himself be exposed. Why are you so mad? What's so secret? What's the problem?
And he ain't denied it at all.
Because it happened.
He's saying, how did you find out?
And not how did you find out, but if you don't give me who told you right now,
I'm about to punish you.
That's wild work.
Oh, you?
I'm not. You should have told me.
You got 5 minutes.
Well, I don't need it. I want to continue.
You got 5 minutes?
This is what I was told. Mr. Copeland made statements that he...
I feel like he gave himself 5 minutes to get his shit together. He's like, I don't need 5 minutes.
He went back there and told some shit.
So this is crazy because actually in Georgia, it's like the lawyers have like some type of coalition or something. But like Brian Steele is very well known, very big time lawyer. 20 lawyers, it was like something like 20 lawyers showed up in the courthouse to support him because like to support him and like stand by and be a witness and be his legal counsel and like stand together against the tyranny of what this judge was doing. So the judge tries this with him, threatens to throw him in jail, says that he's going to call everybody back who was in that meeting. And he believes he knows who it is, which is YSL Woody's lawyer, the young lady who wasn't even supposed to be there, who's told. So he's calling everybody back in. He has set a date to basically grill them and throw them in, possibly allegedly in contempt if they don't answer on that date. Now, again, he ruled against his own mistrial. So they're saying, well, you can't do that. You have to give it to another judge because it's including you. He refuses to do it. So Brian still has to then take it to the Supreme Court of Georgia. So it looks very bad for the judge. And what ends up happening is the Supreme Court of Georgia basically says, no, that has to go to a different judge. And because he is a part of the case, that he can't preside over it. And so now the trial is having to be stopped so that they can have another hearing on whether or not what that judge did was illegal and if the case should be thrown out right now. Because at this point, anything Woody says, no one can believe either way. He's throwing him every type of way. And then also he went on the stand and pled the fifth And that is also like low-key jury tampering if you knew that before he went on the stand, because it changes how the jury views him.
100%.
So that was also another issue that the judge had presided on, and that the lawyers had called out the state for like putting him on the stand knowing he was going to do that. So allegedly. So right now, the entire thing is up in the air. Young Thug is now being held indefinitely as the trial is now put on hold indefinitely.
How long has it been going on?
At a year now. So it doesn't feel like that, like, or coming up probably like 8 months to a year.
Okay.
So like the entire thing is crazy. The judge has played his hand and showed the favoritism. He tried to strong arm Woody's lawyer, and she came out and did an interview. So this news just came out like yesterday, where the day that she was supposed to go in and testify with everyone else and be in front of the judge, I think it was that day or the day before, the ruling came down saying that that had basically been canceled. And the judge had to come in and basically put the trial on hold. And to be honest with you, he could possibly lose his job over this because it was so egregious and it was documented. And multiple lawyers came up from the defense and was like, you can't do this. All these lawyers was like, you just can't do, none of this is okay. And he just kept going ahead. So this is the lawyer, YSL's Woody, you know, stand-in attorney, and this is what she had to say about it.
It happened so fast. I was not expecting it to go the way it happened. It was kind of one of those things, just once it started, it started.
So you show up and this thing just kind of transpires and you're there making sure that Kenneth Copeland's rights are protected, things of that nature. Brian Steele has made allegations. He believes there was some type of coercion that took place, that basically that Judge Glanville may have said, look, I'm going to keep you here. You could be in contempt. You could sit here indefinitely until the end of all of these trials unless you testify. And so then little Woody, according to Brian Steele's filing, says something like, well, you know, fine, I'll get up there then everything I'll say is a lie.
So he's telling them, well, I'll just go up there and lie for you. That's what you're just going to force me to do.
Did you feel like there was anything that went on since you were representing him at that time, little Woody, and you were his lawyer, his counsel during that meeting? Did you feel like anything happened that would make him feel like he was coerced to get up on the witness stand?
I'll say this, if I answer that question, my lawyers will, you know, probably call me right now and say, hang up the phone.
So she couldn't answer at that time. I'm pretty sure she still can now, but she's been proven right because the Supreme Court of Georgia agreed with her. And so she did the right thing by, shout out to this black woman.
Good on you, sis.
And walking out of that room and immediately reporting that shit and saying, hey, that man's civil rights are being violated. Yeah. This is the truth. The truth of the matter is, it seems like the state has nothing. And this is the thing. This is the most expensive case in the state of Georgia ever. This is the most money they've ever spent on a prosecution ever. Because you got to understand, my boy, Young Thug, got that bag. He got like 10 lawyers. Hundreds of thousands of dollars is going into man hours, finding witnesses, doing, you know, research. Like, everybody got to get paid. So this is the most expensive case they've ever prosecuted. And it looks like not only is the state unprepared, don't have a case, everything is built on hearsay and bullshit. And what they're saying fundamentally just didn't happen.
It didn't happen.
Like, when these guys get interviewed and they're asked about their criminal past, they all pretty like, that was just me doing me. Like, if I robbed somebody, if I shot somebody, I killed somebody, like, that's what the shit I do. You know what I'm saying? Like, why y'all trying to make this about him? And Young Thug didn't profit off of none of this. He didn't make $1 off this. It wasn't the gang funding the music. If anything, it was the music keeping these people hanging around him and the gang around him. But it wasn't like one was even funding the other.
Right.
Because all these guys were still broke, and if he was paying them for the music, they wouldn't have to be selling drugs. And again, nobody got caught with 100 pounds or kilos. All of these cases are petty, like damn near misdemeanor crimes or like class 1 felony, like bullshit cases. So, oh, you got caught selling $30 worth of weed. Like stuff like that. So the entire case is crazy. And the fact that they have it's really exposed the Georgia justice system. And I just hope that Young Thug gets to come home, because I do believe that he's innocent of these charges. And I don't believe he deserves what they're trying to give him. And at the very least, the prosecution and the judge, apparently, because apparently he's on the side of the prosecution, that's what it looked like, don't care enough about actually serving justice and only care about getting this case on the docket and the win. But that's what's going on now. And the case has been paused. clause, and it looks like there is a possibility for it to end in a mistrial. Now, if there is a mistrial, technically they could charge him again later on because it's a mistrial, it's not guilty verdict.
That would still be so much more money.
I don't think they would, unless they just are crazy. But
Let it be that.
yeah, I think they would just have to take the L, especially after just how damaging this is, public relations. They probably just wanted to go away at this point because it's just a hot mess. But I'm so glad that it's being filmed, because imagine this type of behind closed doors and how much worse it would be. A lot of the reason why I feel like even the Georgia state stepped in, because these judges, from what I understand in Georgia, have a lot of power with no oversight. There technically isn't a judge, from what I understand, above this judge. So they couldn't even take it. Yeah, you could only go to the Supreme Court, which is a body of judges. So there wasn't even like another person above him. He is the guy. He's the head guy. So it's actually amazing. So for them to even step in and give a ruling that fast means that he realized, like, oh, you really fucked up and you did it publicly. He's in trouble. And I would not be surprised if they tried to either offer him some BS. If I was Young Thug, I wouldn't take a plea deal.
Right, not at this point.
No, if I've been in here a year, even if I got to sit in here another year, I'm gonna walk away a free man.
Amen.
Mistrial, whatever, but we ain't doing no plea deal. Y'all done messed this up too much. So shout out to Young Thug, and I hope he gets justice, because right now it seems like, you know, he may actually come out on top. So we'll see. But let us know what you think in the comments, guys, and we will keep you updated if there is a major change in the case. I know we was taking a break on covering it, but this is where we are now.